Hey pumpkins, and welcome to another book chat.
Dooby 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 doo. Dooby 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 Sophie Vlogs.
I have lost count of what book chat we're on by now, but I'm hoping you're still enjoying them because I'm definitely still enjoying them. I went on holiday recently to Munich and Salzburg and it was absolutely gorgeous and amazing. I have so many thoughts. Mostly, if you're in Munich, go to Neuschwanstein Castle because it's beautiful and incredible, and if you're in Salzburg, go to Hellbrunn and see the fountains because they're super weird. That's like my two takeaways from the holiday. But it was great. And another plus side of holidays is lots of holiday reading. So I thought I'd take a minute to sit down and go through the stuff I've read. First of all, we have Jamaica Inn by Daphne du Maurier, which I hauled recently, if my posting order is correct. I specifically packed this because when I found myself thinking about what do I want to read on holiday, the idea of reading a Daphne du Maurier, like, hopefully, like, in my head, it was going to be like a slightly gothic, a little bit mysterious, like, in the vein of Rebecca, essentially. That's what I wanted. I could have reread Rebecca, but I thought, no, I will read a new one. And it was great, and I really liked it. I read The House on the Strand by du Maurier a while ago, and I didn't get on with that. I have a slightly fuzzy memory on it now, but I think I just felt like it went on too long, and I got a bit bored. Whereas Rebecca, one of my favourite books, so much to it. Everyone's shady as fuck, and I love that. Everyone is also shady as fuck in this book. This tells the story of Mary Yellen, whose mother died, so she goes to live with her aunt in Cornwall on the Bodmin Moors, and some shit is going down in this inn, Jamaica Inn, where her aunt and uncle live. Her uncle is a horrible man, for starters, and as she's there, she's like, hey, some shady stuff is going down. And she ain't just gonna sit there and take it. She's like, I'm gonna figure out what's happening, I'm gonna save my aunt from this mess, and I'm gonna get the hell out of Bodmin. And so she does. She starts, like, investigating. She comes up with some discoveries. I called what was happening because I have read some books that focus on this time period in Cornwall before, and I know something that was commonplace. I will leave it there in case you want to read this without any spoilers, but, like, if you have an awareness of, like, Cornish history and shady things that went down in Cornwall, you might know what this is about. There is also, like, a second mystery that is, like, the latter focus of the book, which I also called because I trust no one. I know I described this at the beginning as, like, a gothic mystery. It's not really gothic, but there is, like, a bleakness to it because it is set on the Cornish moors, which can be very harsh, but because du Maurier lived in Cornwall and loved Cornwall, there is also a great sense of love for the land as well, which I really like, because I love Cornwall too. So yes, really enjoyed it. I think I gave it like a 4 out of 5 stars, because I thoroughly liked it, to be honest. After that, I read Goodbye to Berlin by Christopher Isherwood, which is another book that I hauled recently in the same haul. I liked this a lot. I previously read A Single Man by Isherwood on the suggestion of my friend, and I really liked that. If anything, I think I liked this more because this is semi-autobiographical, but also fictionalized. So I think that was something I was trying to bear in mind as I was reading it. It's about Isherwood's time in Berlin before he left. So there's a lot of the narrative that sort of shows you about the rise of Hitler, the rise of the Nazi Party in that time, how people didn't take it seriously, and then how it started to become taken more seriously. This also features Sally Bowles, who, if you're a musical fan, you will know from the musical Cabaret. So this and another one of his novels, which I haven't read, is where she appears in, which sort of served as inspiration for the musical. So that was really cool, because I've seen the musical in the theatre, and I really liked it. So it's kind of interesting to read, like, the original text, because it's quite different from what the musical might make you think this is about. I don't know. Suffice to say, I think he writes really well. I really enjoy reading him, and it felt very timely, what with certain political events which have been happening in my time. Who knows where we're at in your time, quite frankly. Good book. Would recommend. After that, we have a book that was lent to me, so I can't show you the cover, but it's Will Grayson by John Green and David Leviathan, which my friend lent me from work. I have read John Green before, I have read David Leviathan before. I prefer David Leviathan as an author than John Green, although I do enjoy both of their writing. This book was not my favourite of either of them, but it was still a perfectly fine read. I think because the first David Leviathan book I read was Two Boys Kissing, and that like blew me out of the water, and I think it's excellent, and I love it so much. This in comparison, this was not that. Tells the story of two boys called Will Grayson, and the chapters alternate perspectives, which means that like John Green wrote one of them, David Leviathan wrote the other one of them. So you can, I always find it interesting when authors collaborate to see how their styles mix, but in this one, they kind of don't mix because you have separate chapters, but I'm sure they influenced each other with how the plot went. So yeah, it's two boys called Will Grayson. As the story goes on, they end up meeting, and then they like continue from there. I didn't like either character at the start of the book, and I did grow to like them as the book went on, which is a good sign, but I wasn't like really blown away by it. The main thing that was in my head as I was reading it is that my friend described, there's a character called Tiny, and my friend described him to me before I read the book as being like Titus from Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. So for the entire book, we're in a high school, and I just have like Titus Andromedus in high school. So that was like fun, I guess. I don't know, I don't have massively strong feelings on this book. It was a fun read, but I don't think it was like super great. But if you're a fan of either author, then I'm sure you'll enjoy it. After that is a book that I have been reading for, I worked it out, 4 months, and that is Folk Tales of the British Isles, edited by Kevin Crossley Holland, which I've mentioned like numerous times in various hauls and stuff, I think. This was good. I liked it. Because they are folk tales, they're even shorter than a book of short stories would be. So some of them are literally like a page, some of them are like 10 pages. So it's like the perfect thing to dip into, do a couple, and then carry on. You don't want to just like, I didn't want to sit down and read it for hours on end, because that would have been a bit disjointed, I think. I really enjoyed it. I feel like there were stories that I was familiar with, but on the whole, most of them are like completely new to me, although they do also follow like patterns. I like the way that he's edited it. He's arranged it by theme, and each theme has like a little introduction from him, and then you like continue onwards, and I liked that. Some of them I was a bit meh about, but on the whole, most of them, it was just interesting to read. I thought it was good. If you're in any way interested in folk tales, but have like no idea where to start reading them, it's a very good introduction. Finally, we are going to end with Show Me the Map to Your Heart and Other Stories by John Kai Douglas. I liked this. It's a compilation of like short stories. I liked the title story much more than I liked anything else. Everything is like this lovely black, white and blue, which was nice, until you get to Show Me the Map of Your Heart, and this was my favourite one. Number one, because it's longer. A lot of the other stories in this could be like a page or like a couple of pages, and a lot of them don't have a lot of dialogue in, which there's less like narrative to fall in love with there. Whereas Show Me the Map to Your Heart was longer, and has, number one, like gorgeous, yes, and then unexpected joy, if I can bloody well find it. This falls out, and you get a massive bloody gorgeous page of gorgeosity, which tells this tale as he's finding her heart, and ooh, that was lovely. So title story, super lovely. Rest of it, slightly mixed bag. Liked some, wasn't fussed about others. On the whole, interesting. Gonna like keep him on my radar. Maybe if I see any more of his, I'll like pick it up and have a look. But yeah, cool. That's the end of this week's book chat. I was worried that my book chats were getting a bit lengthy, so I tried to do it a slightly shorter one. I don't know how long is the best time for these to be. We'll see. If they ever get like too long, let me know and I'll try and like shift them down. Mostly it just depends on like when I'm able to record and how much I've read by that point. If you've read any of these, love to hear your thoughts. If you haven't read any of them, but just have recommendations, also love that. The whole chat. That's where we're at. Have a nice chat. What is happening? I feel like I've lost my brain. Hope you're having a lovely day. Hope the week's been treating you well. And I will see you next week for something.